Chris Young on Kicks 105.5. A good morning to you. It's 7:47, and every Wednesday, my buddy Mike joins us. Mike Bear from Bear Insurance Agency. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
So let's get right to the first thing that I've been thinking about. You, again, are going to be a part of Relay for Life at the Caledonia County Fair this Saturday?
Yes, I am.
Tell me about it and ways that we can support you supporting a great cause.
Sure. So, I've had the absolute pleasure and joy of being a part of the Relay for Life of Caledonia County for a long time, many years now. And this will be my 7th or 8th year of emceeing an event for them. And this year they'll be doing a kind of like a drive-through relay at the Caledonia County Fairgrounds in Lyndonville. And if you want more details, you can look for the Caledonia County Relay for Life page on Facebook. You can also Google that, and they'll have all the details on the website. So, admittedly, I don't have a lot of information because I'm not on the committee anymore, so I don't have all the pertinent details, but it sounds like a real cool and interesting opportunity. And, every one of us, in some way, shape, or form, has been impacted personally by cancer. And it's a disease that we need to never let up the fight on. And so that's why the Relay for Life folks really, when they had to cancel the event for this year at the St. Johnsbury Academy football field, they immediately went to, well, what can we do? And I think this was a great alternative, and I'll be excited to see everyone. I think it starts at 6:30 on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think years from now, you're going to be like, man, what a wild thing. Do you remember that year we actually just drove around? I mean, it's one of those things you'll just never forget.
No.
Of course, we want to make sure that you are fully insured with your vehicle when doing this event. Mike Bear,
nice
Bear Insurance Agency, thank you. If the conversation that I guess you and Jeff had the other day on Magic was about umbrella insurance, and
what are you doing? What are you doing listening to me?
Stalking
with
you.
my other...
Late at night, I sit and listen to you on Facebook. Your voice puts me to sleep.
Thank you.
If you don't have over $100,000 in assets, is umbrella insurance genuinely worth it?
So you don't always want to think about just what you have in assets at the time. You want to think about what could happen down the road. You think about if you have, let's break it down real simple. You have an auto insurance policy. You have what we call split limit coverage. The policy says it will pay no more than $100,000 bodily injury per person, not to exceed $300,000 bodily injury per accident. All right, now let's go to a scenario. You're driving down the road. Any number of reasons this happens. Maybe somebody just darts out in front of you. You have hit and either badly injured or, even worse, killed a pedestrian with your vehicle. You are the liable party. It is your fault for their injury or their untimely death. There's going to be a great amount of process going on here legally because it's your negligence that has severely impacted that person's life and their loved one's life. And when it comes to liability, believe it, they're going to have lawyers involved, and they're going to go after you. Now, let's just back it up and say, instead of horribly killing the person you just injured them, think about how quickly medical bills add up for regular things. Now they're in the hospital, they have a recovery time, they have ambulance transportation, they're out of work, they have all kinds of prescriptions and doctor's bills. $100,000 will not go far.
Right.
And contractually, all your policy is saying is that we will cover up to $100,000 of what you are liable for. That does not anywhere say, by the way, they can't get you for any more than that.
Right.
They can. So if it's exceeding $100,000, that could be turned into judgments, liens. It can become a problem for the rest of your life. You don't want to have to worry about that. You want to have some level of protection. There's always that balance of insurance poor, where you don't want to necessarily have more insurance than you can afford. You want to have as much insurance as you can reasonably afford. And an umbrella policy, in this case, a personal umbrella policy, if you had one, would be above and beyond your auto insurance policy. And once the liability limits are exhausted on that policy, you would have the liability of your umbrella, which I also call a catastrophic liability policy, which could be either $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 million in protection. And it's very inexpensive if you think about the amazing amount of protection.
Are you talking like $300 a year, or are we talking like $3,000 a year?
So I'll use myself as an example. So I own a house. I have 2 vehicles. My personal umbrella is rated to cover above and beyond my homeowner's policy and my auto insurance policy. I don't have any recreational vehicles or anything else. I pay about $215 a year for $1 million in extra liability protection. And that's going to help you in many cases because I have a son that could cause bodily injury to people, negligently, accidentally, whatever the case may be. I could be hit by somebody who has not enough insurance or no insurance where that umbrella policy. You think about the uninsured motorist. If the most I'm going to get paid out on my auto policy, I'm still using the $100,000. That won't go very far. My auto policy would then be maxed out, and it could go after uninsured motorists up to $1 million or more on my umbrella.
Am I able to roll this into my monthly payment, or do I have to pay this separately, like one chunk for the year?
Nope. All the policies, there's 2 different ways that companies will do an umbrella policy. Either as a separate policy, in which you have all the payment plans available to you that would be available on your home or auto, or some companies offer it by endorsement where you literally just add it as extra coverage on your existing homeowner policy. There are certain types of people that are not eligible for this type of policy, and among them, broadcasters. And why is that? Well, there's an inherent risk, if you think about fraudulent or inflated claims, people like broadcasters, politicians, judges, in some cases, those that are officers of the law with some companies may find themselves not able to find it through every company, but there are other companies that would offer it. So there are some underwriting guidelines to go through. The example that I gave is $100,000, $300,000 liability for split limit coverage in your auto. With an umbrella policy, those limits are not adequate enough. Your prerequisite is that you have to have $250,000 and $500,000 as a minimum to even be eligible for an umbrella. So there's some underwriting things to consider, but it's certainly worth a dialogue if you are concerned about additional exposures.
Mike, politically correct, we don't call them broadcasters, we call them superstars. If you would like to talk to my rising star friend, Mr. Mike Barrett at Barrett Insurance Agency, to talk about umbrella or any other things, you could do so by buzzing him up at
748-5224. You can find us on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. We are open to the public. You can get a free home or auto quote on our website, thebarrettagency.com. Google, Facebook, and YouTube. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency. And if you're looking for a way to pass out and fall asleep, we post these every week on all of our social pages.
You are a rock star for helping out a great cause. Good luck Relay for Life this Saturday with Barrett as your MC and DJ. Unlike myself, who is an on-air personality and broadcaster. Huge difference.
No, I'm the guy who's free and says yes. That's
you're right Twix and I'm left Twix. That's what's going on there. Have a good one, Mike.
You too, sir.
Bye.